If somebody came to me and they were like, hey, we heard that you can climb this mountain. I'll pay you $500,000 to do it. I would not go, you know what? I don't know anything about climbing mountains. I would just say, yes, absolutely. Pay me up front. I'll see you in 6 months. Hey, welcome to the What a Disaster podcast.
Never heard of it.
Well, I'll tell you all about it. We watch, discuss, and review a disaster movie just as close to weekly as we can possibly stand.
We've been doing a good job at weekly lately.
Yeah, we've been on point.
Yeah.
I'm your regular old host, Gregoria. With me, as usual, is the Ricardo.
I'm here, fresh and new.
Fresh and new. He is actually a clone of the first Richard after a horrible accident in a Spam canning factory. I recommend staying away from... You know what? I'm not going to list the batch numbers. Just wait about 6 months before you eat Spam again. And Liz is here again.
Liz
She, comes to the show. She's part of the show.
Yeah. I'm alive. I shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be alive because you decided to get rear-ended by the biggest semi in the universe, and it somehow did not crush your car like a small tin can.
It was a Ford Explorer.
Tell us about your accident.
Yeah, tell us about your... You were driving and you spun your car around in a wicked 180, and then for whatever reason, the car behind you didn't recognize that you were stunt driving and decided to run into you instead.
I heard the nitrous button didn't work when you hit it.
So I was driving to a job interview, and traffic stopped in front of me. So what happened was it felt like I was hit square on from behind, and my car kind of like got pushed into the median of the road. And I was actually on the phone with like another job, like talking to set up another interview for the weekend. So they heard the whole thing, and I had to say, I'm sorry, I have to go. I don't know what happened. I just got rear-ended, and looking forward to talking with you on Friday. So
Looking forward to not being rear-ended anymore.
So, it was a Bluetooth call. It was like a hands-free call, and I had both hands on the wheel, of course. But, I hung up the phone after that call, and I turned to look out my window, my driver's side window, and the truck that hit me was sideways on 2 wheels up the median, and its headlight was right next to the window of my car, on top of me. And so probably like 10 seconds later, like the driver of that truck and one of the witnesses run up to my door, and they open my door and they make sure I'm okay. And they helped me climb out because the truck was squishing my door shut. I couldn't get out.
We are glad you are okay. And
Not dead.
I'm
Also,
fairly sure we get our deposit from the hitman back.
Yeah. Yeah, if they don't do the job right, you get that money back.
I think it's in the contract.
Yeah.
It was signed in blood, so he's not going to mess with that.
Yeah, it's Article 7C. I looked it up yesterday, of course.
Make it look like an accident.
Clause B.
And he managed to do that part, but
Yeah.
he did not complete the contract because Liz is here.
Also,
which is great.
Yeah, we're
This
really
week-
excited. I'm glad I changed you can't change your mind, turns out.
Yeah.
You know, you get a little drunk.
Once it's signed in blood, you're done.
Yeah. Poke your finger, sign your name, and you're out.
Mhm.
So that was our exciting week, Greg. What about yours?
My week was less exciting.
Good.
That's a good thing.
Sunday. I stopped down at the Silver Dome to watch the... No, that's not true. It was not Monster Trucks at
The
the
Mud
Silver
Jam?
Dome.
The
It
Silver
was
Dome was demolished.
The Monster Jam. No, the Silver Dome's not there anymore. But I went to Phil's house, the Oak.
The Phil
is what
Dome?
we call it. We go lift the weights there.
Yeah.
And we...
The Silver Dome.
the Silver Dome. And we did... I got a 285-pound bench press. That was my 1 rep max.
That was your
That's
1
my
RM.
1 rep, one RM.
It's a big amount of weight.
It is. Phil bench pressed 400 pounds. Though.
That's
a bigger amount of weight.
he's big.
Substantially larger.
He's so big.
Amount of weight. He is very big.
He's so big, Phil.
But that's the only thing that I've really got going. And today, my 4.5-year-old son, well, almost 5-year-old son now. I guess he's not 4.5 anymore.
Oh, man.
He went to Young Fives orientation. It's like a meat grinder.
Really?
Started early. They come in whole and they leave crying chunks of meat.
Broken.
Crying conformist.
Fucking conformists.
Yeah.
This Saturday night, 8 p.m., Pontiac Silverado. It's Crash-O-Rama.
This movie is Vertical Limits. It is about a mountain, really.
The mountain.
The second mountain, K2.
Not K1.
Now, Vertical Limit, it was released in 2000. Budget was about $75 million.
Oh, howdy.
Budget was many.
It did not make that back in the United States with the $69 million gross. However, worldwide,
What's the gross, Greg?
$215 million.
That's so much money. What's the gross again? Just tell me.
215.
No, the U.S. gross. Say it slow.
U.S. gross?
Say it slow.
U.S. gross, $69 million.
69.
The movie was directed by Martin Campbell, who has done other stuffs, right?
He's done some stuff, Greg.
What's he done?
He some other stuff. He directed Goldeneye.
Thank you. And
Casino Royale.
yeah.
And the Zorro movies with Antonio
Well, why don't you talk about
Banderas.
his masterpiece?
Oh my God.
His magnum opus.
Oh man, the Criterion Collection entry that he has on this list.
Oh God, just beautiful.
I love this movie so much, and everybody loves this movie.
Oh, I don't think anybody has ever been disappointed.
Yeah. By
He was at the helm for the 2011
Green Lantern film,
Green Lantern
starring
film.
Ryan Reynolds, megastar Ryan Reynolds.
I mean, it's easily his most famous superhero performance, Ryan Reynolds.
I think it honestly might be his most famous superhero performance.
I can't think of any other super
No.
movies he's even been in.
I can't think of anything else Ryan Reynolds has been in, period.
Well, Van Wilder.
Just
Yeah.
friends.
Well, there we go.
Van Wilder, Just Friends, Green Lantern. That's 3, 2,
legacy.
1.
Oh, legacy.
This movie is really quintessential 90s, which is what I said in the car, but was released in 2000, although it would have had to have been made in the 90s, I'm
Yeah,
sure,
right.
at that point, right?
Yeah, it
I
was-
don't know when principal filming occurred, but everything about this movie, the opening title card, the direction, even the actors were very just fucking 90s.
The cuts, the close-ups for facial reactions.
Chris O'Donnell, what has he been in since the year 2000?
TV.
I mean,
you
he's
know?
bound to have been in stuff, right?
Yeah, mostly TV. He's Robin.
Robin Tunney. What else has she been in? I know her
I mean, it
face.
was Robin. Chris O'Donnell was Robin, but I guess
No, the actor Robin Tunney.
Okay.
She's the other
you know,
she's the sibling.
Chris O'Donnell was in Grey's Anatomy. I think that was his.
He was
most-
in Grey's Anatomy.
I think he has some Grey's Anatomy credits.
Are you
like 4
sure?
or 5
I think you need to look that up.
episodes. I might be wrong. He was in The Price is Right as himself. So that was the most recent thing he's done, other than American Dad.
There you go.
No, he's in Grey's Anatomy. 9 episodes.
He was in 9 episodes of Grey's Anatomy.
Dr. Finn, like Finn from Sharknado. Dr. Finn.
Dr. Finn, medicine woman.
Dr. Finn McVet Dandridge. I know nothing about Grey's Anatomy.
I know that he played Dr. Finn McVet for 9 episodes. Who else is in this movie? Anybody? Stuart Wilson. Oh, you know what? Stick is in this movie. Scott Glenn. Scott Glenn plays.
Is
Stick
anybody else in this
Daredevil.
movie? What's his face? Fucking
Bill Paxton's
Bill
in this.
Paxton.
Paxton's in this movie. Yeah,
Rest in peace.
the girl from the Craft and Empire
You're talking
Records.
about Robin Tunney.
Robin Tunney.
Yeah, the one that we literally just named.
Oh,
I said, is anybody else in this?
I can't remember
He
her
was
name.
stuck on Batman and Robin.
Man, he really was.
I was.
They had nipples on their costumes.
That was the
Football, Greg.
Batman Forever. Batman Forever didn't have nipples.
Holy rusted metal, Batman!
Huh?
The ground, it's all metal, it's full of holes, you know? Holy!
Oh.
Honest to God, like the opening title, they're panning over this this desert shot with plateaus everywhere,
Yes.
and there's a CG eagle soaring through the skies, and then the vertical
I
limit
love the
looks
eagle.
like every fucking shitty ass alt rock band logo on the planet. Even has the drop shadow.
Black lettering, ready to go.
And then we're introduced to our sibling leads, Robin Tunney and Chris O'Donnell.
It's apropos that you said that it reminds you of every shitty hard rock band because they start off
alt rock.
alt rock band. Sorry, because they start off singing an Eagles song, not one of the better ones, I might add. That's when
Is
the
the
climate.
Eagles a shitty alt rock band?
I guess I thought you said hard rock, so I guess it's not apropos.
Is the Eagles a hard rock band?
I guess apropos of nothing that you
Black
said.
metal.
I mean, kind of.
In complete relation to absolutely nothing you just mentioned, Greg. Here's something. Here's a band. There's a band. That's
Apropos of
close.
nothing, I
That's
like
close to
hamburgers.
what you're talking about. Bands.
Bands, you know, you're right.
Hey, you know I'm in a band, Greg.
Who wrote this movie, Greg?
You know what? I had that sheet in front
The
of me.
King.
Now I don't.
Bob King. Robert King wrote this movie.
Bobby King did
Bobby
this?
King, yeah, Bobby King did
I
it.
haven't seen him ever in my entire life.
He's mostly known for The Good Wife. He writes for The Good Wife.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
He works. He has a nice house, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure his
Yeah.
house is nice. I'm sure everybody that was in this movie
Has
probably
nice
has a
houses,
nice-ish
yeah.
house. Because everybody's more responsible than we are.
Oh, but you have a nice house. It's like a castle
It's all right.
with dogs.
It's fine.
Did you guys know this was supposed to be a sequel to Cliffhanger?
Oh
Was it
my
really?
God.
Yeah.
It starts just like Cliffhanger.
The script was. It was intended to, but I think it kind of went off the rails.
Did he kill somebody at the beginning of Cliffhanger?
No, but like
Somebody dies. I mean, that's how.
it's like the same thing where somebody's like falling. You know. I
yeah,
don't
that's
know.
how these things start, though. Disaster movies either start with a
I
tragic
didn't know that,
hero
Luke. That's
story
interesting.
or showing off how badass the hero is.
Yeah.
We are going to take our first break since Richard needs to open a beer for me.
Oh yeah.
And then when we come back, we're going to get into the meat of this flickaroony.
Play Peter Garrett, who I spent the past few years kind of out in the middle of nowhere, I guess you could say, not too far from this base camp, photographing for National Geographic. We were just in some of the most ridiculous locations you can imagine, helicoptering in and landed on these tiny little, flat landing spots that they find, and it's pretty overwhelming, all the incredible shots. I mean, some of the footage that you look at in the film, you think for a second, oh, that's fake, and then you realize, oh my gosh, they're really up there.
All right, look, we're back, and we're still talking about Vertical Limit.
Vertical limit. Liz is being obnoxious.
No, she's not. She's being
you left
Party
so
Liz.
many toys for me.
Party Liz.
This is Party Liz this week. Party Liz, why don't you tell us what you thought about this opening sequence here? Because this is kind of it's setting, it's teaching us about the characters, it's establishing their sitch, as it were,
Their hardships.
their challenges, what they have to overcome as people.
Well, I recognize that I was supposed to be, I don't know, it was supposed to come off the way the beginning of Up came off. Super, super sad and tragic. But we just had no emotional connection to the characters. I was like, well, that was unfortunate, but I don't know what to do with that
Yeah, so
with
it's
the context of this story.
Chris O'Donnell and Robin Tunney are siblings climbing with their dad in some fucking desert.
Fucktown,
in-
who knows where.
It's Australia.
It's Australia?
I think so, yeah.
Really? Because it looked like the southwest of the United States.
Like
with those
Arizona or
plateaus.
something?
Yeah, it looked like
It looked like Australia
Texas
to me.
or Mexico.
They don't
or
have eagles in Australia. That's only America.
It was an eagle.
Eagle.
They used that font from the Alanis Morissette Jagged Little Pill CD sleeve.
There was freedom.
There was
bleeding
freedom. They
from
were
the
singing.
edges of the screen.
They were singing the Eagles
They were singing the Eagles, Liz. Wow.
climbing.
Oh, it was New Zealand?
That's where it was shot. That's where the movie was shot. But where was that opening sequence? I'm going to look. They are.
Going to visit her dad's gravesite.
They're climbing in Monument Valley, which is in Utah.
Oh,
Liz.
Utah, Mormontown.
Which explains the Eagles song that they're singing. No, it doesn't.
The Eagle explains the Eagle song.
They're challenging each other with like they're singing, and they're supposed to guess the band and song. And it's just people being family.
People,
I think
thousands
is that what families do?
When you're
I never
thousands-
really had a family.
Greg, the biggest problem with doing things like camping and going outside and climbing giant rock walls there's no TV.
There's no TV.
There's no TV.
There's
No
no
video games.
no computers. There are rocks, and there's heat, and there are animals and insects
And
and
sweat.
danger. There's danger,
Yeah.
which we're introduced to when one of the children is forced to make a choice.
Do you know what else there is, Greg? There's gravity.
Gravity. Oh, shit.
In spades.
You get far enough away from Earth, there's less
Yeah.
Earth gravity, but you might end up in somebody else's gravity. And
Oh.
I mean, we're pretty much always in the sun's gravity, right?
Yeah. So they're doing this multi-pitch climb. The people above them were amateurs, and they fell. It was basically like a pair of
Spectacularly.
headphones, right? Falling from the sky.
Except the headphones wail as much as you do
Yeah.
and are attached to you and want to pull you down to Earth with you.
Right. And they tangled up with the family Garretts, the Garrett family, which are who these three people are. And our three protagonists, well, two protagonists and one dead, soon to be dead dad. Because,
Whoa, spoiler alert.
right, kind of. We're 30 seconds away from these climbers smash into them, two of the anchors yanked from the wall, one anchor's left. And now we have a problem because those two guys who knocked them down, they're already gone. They're donezo. They fell to the earth. And now we have the family Garrett hanging on for dear life. Dad Garrett is just screaming at Peter, right? Like, cut the line.
This shot is awful. It's just a super tight shot on every actor's face, really. The tension is not high. It's just yelling
Supposed to
and
be.
close-ups, but you're supposed to feel I don't know, you're supposed to feel something.
Like
the
you're there with
suspense
them.
should be there, but it
Yeah.
is really not. I do not get a sense of danger. I did not get a feel for them being like they felt in danger. The acting was not good. The shot was not the shots. The scene was just
The
not
shooties.
pretty for me.
The shooties, yeah. Daddy Garrett was, his acting was exquisite. He was just
Papa
screaming.
G was the worst. I'm
Oh.
telling you, Papa G is awful. But Chris O'Donnell picked up some slack and left a lot of slack.
Yeah.
Basically the anchor couldn't hold up all three of them.
It was falling. It was
And-
obviously coming loose.
Yeah. And the sister was like, "No, I'll do another anchor." And Chris O'Donnell's like, "No, fuck that. We're killing Dad."
Yeah.
Cuts the rope. Dad's dead. And once again, we're treated to another horribly shot sequence where we just see a body drop.
Oh my God. The camera's just relaxed on the ground and Dad full of sand. Just doesn't bounce, nothing. Just kind of like,
It's not even
Flaps.
It didn't feel realistic at all. So
No.
it was not only was it abrupt, it was also ugly. Like you could have done so much more with a wide shot of the body hitting the ground, or just not that tight shot where you're just seeing the entire body head to toe just plop, and that's it. It
I
was
didn't
dumb.
see that. It took me out of it.
But I will
honestly.
say, this is the most dynamic scene in the movie. Really.
Really, yeah, they were like got creative. This is all they spent all their storyboarding on this scene. There's like 15 cuts within every like 20 seconds. It's
The rest of this movie is basically, fuck it, we're on a snow mountain.
this is expensive. Just get it done.
Yeah.
Just cut it! We're running out of time here! Just cut it! Nobody's gonna blame you for it! Just cut it, Peter! We're gonna die! How many of you are gonna die? Just cut it, Peter! Please!
Papa G dies, and the children take very different paths. Probably because one of them had to kill his fucking dad, whom he loved very much. And the other one was pissed off that, her brother killed their dad, whom they loved very fucking much.
Basically reverse Batman when you think about it.
So I want to say Robin, but I can't say Robin because there's actually an actor named Robin in this movie. So
Yeah.
Chris O'Donnell's character, Boy
Peter.
Elliot, Boy Garrett,
PG. Peter Garrett.
BG, Boy Garrett, BG, or PG, Peter Garrett. Either one, you pick.
It's Annie and Peter, but you can decide how you want to deal
Yeah.
with that.
Annie, are you okay? Are you okay?
This motherfucker's like, you know what? Mountains are scary because they are, by the way.
Yeah.
And falling to your death doesn't seem super great. And decides to become a wildlife photographer and still live the outdoorsy life.
For Natural Geographic.
Nat Geo.
Nat Geo.
my
He was
good
just like,
man.
I'll just go for my backup career.
Yeah, no big deal. I'll just
Yeah.
be freelance photographer, jet setting motherfucker.
Yeah. Was to silently take pictures of cats.
Mm-hmm. And then the Robin Tunney, Lady Garrett, LG, Woman Garrett, Lady Garrett. Which do you prefer, Liz?
Woman Garrett.
Woman Garrett.
Oh, wow.
The old wag
The old wag.
decides
Wow.
that she is going to continue to pursue a career in climbing because she hasn't seen enough people fall to their death.
She's hoping for get a cool 6. under her
However, she
belt.
does become a world-renowned climber.
Speed climber.
Speed climber.
Another fun fact.
Fun fact.
most of the stunts were done by the actors in this movie.
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
there were a lot of the actors did many of their own stunts.
Great.
I wish that I knew which ones so that I could be like, look at that dumb shit.
Look at that fucker.
He's risking this entire production just so he could look like a badass.
How many jobs?
What a prick.
How many people's jobs and livelihood depend on this
What
guy?
did he put on the line?
Yeah.
You, Chris O'Donnell, if you're listening to this podcast right now, you need to get your shit together.
Yeah. You and Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm. So
Peter's a nature photographer.
nature photographer, we covered this.
Yeah, but
and then
something
speed
important
climb.
happens.
Yeah.
His friend's hiking with him back to their camp. He falls off a rock and breaks his leg in a pretty fucked up, gruesome scene. And Peter just kind of walks over to him. And the next thing, that's when we get our first helicopter, Greg.
We got our first helicopter 8 minutes and 23 seconds into the film.
We also find out that there's a war between Pakistan and India going on right now because K2's in Pakistan.
There is always a war between Pakistan and India. I mean, that border is tense.
Yeah, but they use it as kind of comic relief in this movie, which is an odd choice.
This whole movie is odd choice.
So that's kind of how Peter meets up with Annie, because they have to go back to this bigger camp because Peter's partner has a big fat broken leg. And so they get airlifted to this other camp, and Annie just happens to be in town.
What a coincidence. Annie's there
coinkydink.
to fucking run some damn prick up K2.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton.
Billy P.
Billy
Paxton.
P.
R.I.P. Billy P.
We miss
love
you, buddy.
Bill Paxton's like, hey, fuck it, guys. I killed a bunch of people climbing K2. I need to do it again.
Last time. Didn't make it last time. Gonna do it this time.
We're going to summit the shit out of this bitch,
He has
says.
a really awkward conversation. It happens a couple times with this actor. His name's Ed. Ed's a real climber. And that's why he has this really awkward conversation with this dude like, hey, I'm one of the best climbers in the world here, Ed. And talks to him, and Ed tries to spit his dialogue out as quickly and evenly as possible. You can tell he's super uncomfortable in front of the camera.
Climbed 12 of the world's 14 highest peaks, all without oxygen. Rock on. By comparison, all of us are merely amateurs. It's a real honor, Ed.
Welcome to base camp.
Thank you.
Bloody ketchup.
So we find out Bill Paxton is a rich man.
He is rich, super rich.
He's gonna
It's from murdering people.
It's
that he
from-
got rich.
He's gonna
I feel
pay
like.
He's gonna pay all these climbers to get him to the top of K2, so that he can get there in time to wave to his airplane. I guess he runs an airline, and it's their maiden voyage, and he wants to wave a flag at the airplane as it flies over the top of K2.
I mean, that's an important thing to do. Like, you don't just go to K2 and not wave your flag.
No. He wants to. That's how he's gonna market his fucking airline, and people are like, "Oh, that's so."
That's a really
stupid."
great idea, guy that killed everybody that went with you last time.
So not only did he not make it up last time, but this time he's like, we're on a tight schedule. We have to do it in this schedule. That's great. Put some more parameters in place, because last time you were so successful.
Right.
There's a barbecue, and that's when we get to meet Montgomery Wick.
Yeah, he's a world-renowned climber who the last time he tried to summit K2, his wife died.
Yeah.
And she was the Sherpa for. Oh no, he was not there. He was not
wasn't
there.
there.
It was Elliot Vaughn who was trying to summit K2.
Yeah,
his wife was the Sherpa guide, and
She didn't make it.
she did not make it. Nobody made it except for Elliot Vaughn, right?
Right.
He was
yeah.
the sole
I think-
survivor.
I think you're right. Before I figured out who this was, I called him Gandalf the Grouch.
You also noted that he's basically just an overcooked Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
I have more trivia for this too. So
He's gonna run over my overcooked Sam Elliott joke.
yeah.
He's
You
gonna
know
pretend
what?
like that didn't happen.
Why don't you just deal with it and let her have the agency that we allowed them to have since what?
yeah,
When did they get to vote?
Where's my agency?
Was it 1996 that women's
I think
suffrage
it
was passed?
1990 too soon.
Did
is
you?
what it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Liz, were you alive in 1992?
No.
No. Okay. I wanna know
Montgomery
this.
Wick's name is
It's
a
his
reference to Thomas Montgomery and Jim Wickwire. Montgomery discovered K2, and Wickwire was the first American to climb it.
Oh. So it's an amalgam of names. So Montgomery Wick shows up to scream at them about the weather. It has been, I don't know how long it's been since the last climb, but he's been holding back all this drama and hatred for Elliot, right?
Yeah, he does not like Elliot.
And so the first time he sees him, in who knows how long, since his wife has passed.
So Elliot's claim was she ran out or she lost her medicine that prevents some sort of fucking embolism
Yeah,
shit.
some sort of lung thing,
Some
like the bends.
crazy ass kills you if you climb mountains and you're not medicated for it.
So don't climb mountains, asshole.
Don't you just don't.
You don't need to
Something
go
you
that
get with
high.
scuba diving too.
With the bends, yeah, man.
There's nothing up there. It's just,
You
There
know
was
what's
a guy
up
that
there?
had a heart attack
Snow
while I was getting
and dead
certified.
bodies. Because
He
when
got
you
the
die
bends.
up there, you just get left.
You guys are talking over each other. What'd you say?
Oh, when I got my scuba diving certification, there was
You have
someone
a
I'm.
scuba cert?
Mhm.
What the fuck? Why aren't we doing this underwater?
We can.
We
I
should
have
be
all the
recording
gear.
these underwater.
I know. It'll sound great.
That a guy had a heart attack under the water, and because of that, he got the bends on the way back up.
Did
and
he
it
have
was a
to
big
surface too
fucking
quickly?
problem. But he did live. He lived.
Did he have to surface too quickly? Is that why he got the bends?
Yeah.
Well, it's because you're supposed to like decompress when you're going
Yeah.
up, and he was passed out.
The barbecue everybody's super pumped.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, if you fucking climb as well as you talk, this is going to be great.
Right.
Of course he doesn't.
No.
Otherwise everybody wouldn't have died the last time, right?
So Peter and his sister meet up finally.
Yeah, they get together.
Sexual
Family
tension.
reunion. Oh, of
It's
course.
just blooming.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can
it's
tell that they
crazy.
used to masturbate in the same house.
Oh, yeah, for
Never in
sure.
the same room, presumably, because that would be fucking weird.
Like later on,
Or
Peter
at least
kind of.
not at the same time.
So Peter and his sister have a lovely chat about how he killed her dad.
Hey,
Their
remember
dad.
that time we were climbing and like you cut the rope and Dad
Yeah.
died?
So fine, let's talk about this
no,
right now.
no. Oh, well, maybe now that you say,
Oh, was that
yeah,
that time we were
yeah,
in
that
Monument
does sound
Valley?
familiar.
It seems like,
Yeah, and those other people died right before him.
yeah. What about those guys?
Oh, yeah, how are
Right.
they
Oh
doing?
my god, I totally forgot about that day.
Did you ever talk to
Crazy.
their family? Do you keep in touch with those dead people's family?
Yeah, I'm following his mom on Facebook. She's great.
Bitch, are you kidding? I haven't talked to you since Dad died. I'm calling the family of them? No, I'm busy being the ultimate climber.
They were super excited about seeing each other. But she was
seem
like,
okay.
"Hi, you're so great to see you. I love you. Fuck you for killing Dad. I love you. Bye."
You son of a bitch. You killed our dad.
Yeah, but
Where's their mom in all this, by the way? She's probably not super proud of them.
unimportant because she's a lady.
Did they ever mention their mother?
Nope. Maybe their mother left them.
Ooh, good call. Maybe she climbed to the top of that Monument Valley monument and they couldn't get there and they never saw her again because she was up there waiting and she starved to death.
They just forgot about
They
her.
killed their parents. Both their parents,
Both their parents
that
are
day
dead.
because of them.
Reverse Batman.
Wow.
So we also this is where we
Let's get
find
on
out.
task.
This is where we find out, Greg, that both of theirs both these characters, their sole motivation is to impress their ghost of a dad. They're just
Oh,
constantly
yeah.
like,
It's really-
"Dad, I'd be so proud of you.
It's
Dad, I'd be so proud of
critical-
you."
That everything they do is for pop.
It's
Pop,
framed
pop.
by how their dad would feel about it.
Yeah.
Do it for Dad.
All right. So Annie's got a guide for this K2 climb. And let's finally just fucking let's
There's two
get to the
guides.
next let's get
But
to
yeah.
the next fucking step of this plot where this is the driving factor of this movie. They're climbing up and the storm's coming. Base camp is like, fucking don't fucking go.
And Peter's like, "Don't fucking go.
We shouldn't go.
Don't go."
Let's just stay here. This will blow over and then we can go.
But the airplane.
But
We have
you
to,
know,
talk, we have
you
to
gotta,
talk to the airplane.
you gotta have that. You gotta promote, right?
Because anybody gives a fuck. Because anybody gives a
You know
fuck.
who gives
you
a
know?
fuck?
Nobody.
Just Elliot fucking Vaughn.
It really is just him. Like people climb K2 almost every day. Nobody gives a fuck that
No.
you're. It wouldn't have made any difference except for all the people who die to save his ass.
So this dumb fuck is like, no, we got to push through it, guys. They push through it, and
Even after one of the guys
Annie-
is like, "No, we have to go back." It's like he gives him some motivational speech.
Robin Tunney, Annie, whatever you want to call her, is pushing through this wind like, fuck yeah, I'm an ice climber. She's got her pick. She's just crawling forward through this wind.
Pro.
Smash
Through the
into a fucking hole.
Right down a hole.
If there were no storm, she would have seen signs that that was not a safe place to be.
It wouldn't have been covered in snow, probably either.
I don't know what it would have been covered
Yeah.
with. She probably would have fallen down there either
Yeah, I
way.
really don't know if the storm mattered in this situation.
But
to be
it would have
honest
been
with you.
easier to retrieve her.
To go
Anyway,
up.
she falls down a fucking hole. Team Dollar Sign is Team Dollar Sign
Yeah.
Elliot Vaughn's
Yeah. At this
That's
point.
awesome.
And then we have Rescue Rangers is the other team. The
Team
Rescue,
Rescue Rangers. All right. I
Yeah.
like it. Yeah, so Team Dollar Sign's like, yo, Pete, we tried to kill your sister. If you're interested in helping her, we're open to that.
Yeah. And Pete's like, "Whoa." Actually, they all assume everybody's dead at this point because they lost communication. So people are crying back at home base and shit.
Yeah.
And then his sister does because some of the climbers, most of the climbers do die. Elliot lives. Tom kind of lives. The other guy. But
We'll get to it.
Annie catches them amazingly. Catches them. I won't do this very much. But when you spot a person climbing, you're not supposed to catch them. You're supposed to push their heads up so their heads don't hit first. You try to catch a person who's falling, you're gonna break your goddamn arms. You don't try to catch a person who's falling unless you have superpowers. You know?
No, yeah. I mean, all you're gonna do is fall down the mountain.
Andy catches this man like a fucking fireman. She just like the guy. He lands on her arms and they're out. And
Now, hang on. I want to know one time in your entire life you've seen a single fireman just catch somebody.
I feel like they get trained to do that, right? They
Cat
catch people
from
when
a
they jump out of
tree.
windows.
I don't know that that's true.
Well, how I imagine a fireman would catch somebody is how Andy catches. Did you watch that scene? Like he falls solidly in her arms and they don't move. They are solid. She's like,
Yeah,
"Whew,
she's just like,
gotcha,
you know what?
buddy. You're good."
I am so strong.
She should have broke both of her arms.
I'm Annie.
They managed to Morse code back to home base while Peter's holding the microphone. Why did they get Peter the microphone? He doesn't even work there. What's he even doing?
Hey, man.
And she Morse codes to him, and he's like, "She's alive." Everybody's like, "She's
Yay!
alive!" Yay!
That means we can risk more people's lives to go get her.
We gotta go get him, right? No man left behind. Hoorah!
I think that's Marines, and also I don't know if they ever say that. I'm not sure. If you're a Marine, just let
Don't
us
get mad.
know.
Don't get mad.
Thank
you for your service.
But get mad at Richard, not me. You get mad at Liz too, I guess. I don't really
Yeah,
care
that's
about her
fine.
either.
I mean-
Liz wants to climb to the top of my house and freeze to death, so we'll be back in just a few minutes.
That clip they just showed,
Yeah.
it blows.
Why? Why?
It's terrible. This movie is wall-to-wall action.
Why did you bring that clip, man?
I didn't bring it. God, I didn't bring it.
Paxton, that's
Same
all
lousy
we're-
clip they showed last night.
All we were talking about is Paxton brings this lame clip. You know?
I hear you. I hear you. I mean, you don't see that in the preview, me talking. I mean, God.
You know what?
Who goes up to the top of 2670 to have a conversation?
Right.
I mean,
This is cool because you see, you can't. You have people that send us clips. You don't have any control. You assume they do the right job, right?
you assume. That's
Right?
your first mistake.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm supposed to share what I'm looking at right now before we review, but it is a
Vaguely Windex colored.
1 pint, 8-ounce bottle of Smirnoff Ice Red, White, and Blue limited edition.
Red, white, and berry.
Red, white, and berry. I don't read what's there. I read what I want to
Sickeningly
read.
wrong.
I call it red, white, and freedom, but that's just
It's
me.
limited. It's flavored with blue raspberry, cherry, and citrus.
Yeah,
And it seriously looks like Windex.
it's flavored though.
It's got a flavor. I'm about to try it for the first time. I've never had
It
it.
looks great with that shirt you're
I'm
wearing.
going to
right
have
now.
such a chug of this. You guys ready for the chug?
Ready.
Oh God, okay. Came right out your nose.
That's pretty good.
I know, right?
Wow. The ice is why it was chosen for this movie, because this movie is primarily shot in ice.
Yes.
And snow.
It's very ice covered.
This was, I think that everything I read about this said it was filmed in a walk-in freezer in New Zealand, but it's supposed to take place on K2.
Yeah.
So that's where the ice theme is on this movie, or on this. That's why we tied the Smirnoff Ice Red, White, and Berry limited edition in.
It tastes like a delicious rocket pop, and you should drink it.
Boom. Done.
Perfect.
Richard, you're up.
I thought it tasted like.
Take a drink first.
Oh, sorry. I'll take another drink.
Take a drink.
It tastes like either the blueberry Airheads, the white Airheads you get from the 7-Eleven, or it tastes like the those freezer pops, but you decided not to freeze it, just to drink it straight from the plastic. Either way, it's kind of delicious. I think it's the best tasting Smirnoff Ice flavor. So if you want to drink some Smirnoff Ice, drink this.
Yeah. Okay, so next we have the Founders Sumatra Mountain Brown Ale.
It's a great find there.
Yeah, it just was one of the first coolers at the Flicks. Anyway, the Founders Sumatra Mountain Brown Ale. Good stuff.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, it's a drink it from me. The Sumatra Brown. It tastes like coffee. It tastes like
Hence the name.
Yeah, so this one, it was 9% alcohol? 9% alcohol, which is good for me. I mean, that works. I'm interested. The label's neat, and it really tasted like kind of like brown, what is it, Newcastle,
Tastes like
but
brown.
a little more bitter, a
Yeah.
little more coffee-like, and a little more intense.
Not as heavy as a Newcastle in my stomach, but
I feel like it was a little heavier than a Newcastle.
okay. I haven't had a Newcastle in a while.
I had Newcastle last week.
All right, so your opinion's probably a little closer
Yeah,
to reality.
yeah.
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 I'm gonna jump in on this real quick. It's also a drink it for me. I thought it was a pretty delicious beer. Greg doesn't usually drink a beer the first sip and go, this is pretty good, and he did that with this. It was, comes with a good endorsement. What do you think about this? I give it a super drink it.
Yeah, super.
You should
drink
buy
it.
this actually if you can find it.
SDI.
Yeah. What do you think about this one, Liz?
For sure. Yeah, drink it.
All right. Well, let's get back to the flick. Pete's like, hey, my sister, and maybe one other person.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. My sister, guys.
My sister.
She's so fucking hot.
How many lives?
God, is she hot?
How many lives can we risk to save my sister's life?
So now we got a Saving Private Ryan scenario in front of us.
This is classic SPR.
Yeah, it's classic. So let's throw bodies into the fucking grinder so we can get one person out alive.
And at least in this one, they established that she is clearly more important than everyone else on Earth.
Right.
You know, it's important that they do that.
Including Elliot, who is one of the richest men. He's basically the Jeff Bezos of this fucking.
Right.
He's a murderer.
You know what? Sometimes you got to break a few eggs. How many people are willing to risk their lives to save this person? Or two people, I guess, technically,
Not many.
Right? There's
Not
just the two of them
until
trapped,
they introduce
right?
a $500,000 reward.
3 trapped? I thought everybody died but the 2.
Tom, Elliot, Annie.
Oh, that's right.
Tom's the second guy who made $500,000 to take them up there.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of fucking money.
That is a lot of money. I would. You know what? If somebody came to me and they were like, hey, we heard that you can climb this mountain. I'll pay you $500,000 to do it. I would not go, you know what? I don't know anything about climbing mountains. I would just say, yes, absolutely. Pay me up front. I'll see you in 6 months.
Yeah, for sure. But honestly, these people are all professionals. They've done this before. The general consensus is, fuck that noise. Nobody's volunteering.
Right. So naturally, what you do instead of going, you know what, my sister has unfortunately made a decision that is going to lead to her expiring, you make everybody feel like shit and you guilt trip them into risking their lives to go save your sister.
Yeah. And this older guy, I don't know who this guy was. He was like, I'll give $500,000 to anybody who wants to anybody who goes. But the only people who really volunteer at the get-go are the 2 moron brothers who you kind of see.
Yeah, we forgot to mention them earlier in the movie, and they're actually interesting characters.
Yeah.
That, like, when you first see them in the movie, they're sunbathing completely naked on the side of this mountain,
running
like
a
the base
still,
of this mountain, running a still, drinking their booze, cucumber slices on their eyes. I mean, they're
having a great time.
They're enjoying
living up that Everest life.
So if like professional bodybuilders, it's what Juji Mufu is to pro bodybuilders. He's having fun with everything he's doing, but he's still doing the right things to make himself awesome.
Yeah, these guys are having a good time.
And these guys are just having a good time.
Too bad they're misogynist assholes later on, but
everybody in this movie is.
Everybody in this movie is. They just fit in. They're just trying to fit in.
Exactly. It was peer pressure.
But they were willing to go. They got peer pressured into it, but they're like, fuck it. What do we have to live for?
Right.
We basically
all we're doing is drinking booze at the base of a mountain. So
we just live at the base of this mountain for no reason.
Yeah. And we're going to call this entire crew the Rescue Rangers. And to save time and increase the odds of discovering people, they go up the 3 most likely paths that they're going to encounter. They split up into 3 groups, and they go up the most likely paths where they would encounter the people that were lost.
But you forgot the other people who are on the rescue.
Who gives a shit? There's fucking Wick Man.
Yep, Mr. Wick.
Mr. Wick.
Montgomery Wick, who you knew was going to be in it.
Old Monty Wick, who if they had introduced him and he didn't go up the mountain, it would have been dumb as shit. The brother,
Harbinger.
If he did not go up, he would have been dumb as shit. The Idiot Brothers, who if they hadn't gone up, that would have been dumb as shit based on their introduction.
Yeah.
And then 2 other people that don't matter because they die pretty quick, don't they?
Oh, well, Monique's the love interest, apparently. It doesn't really come through very well, but Peter's love interest is Monique. And there's a Muslim man who also goes up who survives like 2 scenes.
Right. They're not used well.
Yeah. But regardless,
their bodies to throw at it.
Exactly. It's actually kind of unfortunate how they handle that.
You know the mountain better than anyone.
What are you talking about? Skip's one of the best climbers.
Before we get started, let's agree on one thing. This is not one of those climbing democracies. On a rescue mission, we don't vote, we don't question, we don't argue. You listen and do exactly as I say. Chopper will pick you up on the way back.
They go to the Pakistani army. The Pakistan army.
Right, they're at that base camp of the Pakistani army.
So something we didn't really cover, there's this weird undercurrent of this war, and they're actually hanging out with the commander in the Pakistan army, who's kind of like, speaks great English, likes Peter a lot, and he goes to him and goes, hey, we're going to climb this mountain. can you help us? And he gives them these weird futuristic looking containers.
Except they're old ass containers of nitroglycerin.
Of nitroglycerin.
They're like old bottles.
They're just dripping everywhere.
Exactly.
It's
The leak is foreshadowing. And fish.
So, Greg, our rescue rangers, they're off.
Oh my God, what do they do? Yeah, they're fucking climbing a mountain. They've got nitroglycerin to blow open the hole that these people are trapped in.
Talk about the shoe for a second. That's one of my favorite scenes.
So he's like the Pakistani general's like, fuck, I'll give you some explosives. I know we're at war and you could very well be some sort of spy, but fuck it.
Rock climbers, what harm could you do?
Right. Here's some shit that blows up really easily. And while they're talking about this, somebody's standing and I don't know who the fuck one of
the tall blonde guy whose
just,
name he's around. He's this auxiliary character who probably has like 6th or 7th most lines.
Somebody's like,
movies.
Don't move a muscle. And we see he's standing in this bubbling pool of nitroglycerin.
Looks like coolant. Like
yeah,
coolant.
right. It looks like radiator fluid. And they slowly step him out of his boot.
Sexy,
and the next scene is them throwing the boot at the mountainside.
I was like, sweet boot bomb.
Right.
That's a great idea.
That is the best way to blow up a boot.
I can't think of a better way to blow a boot up.
I can't think of another way that's worth doing.
But you do right away. You see enough of these movies, you're just like, oh, yep, that's explosive juicy stuff is going to be a problem later.
Right. I wonder
that Kool-Aid
if they're
flavor.
foreshadowing.
Yeah, I wonder
if they're beating us over the head with something.
So they're going to go rescue these motherfuckers,
They're going to rescue
right?
these shit fucks. But all these ding-dongs sign on, and they just are like, fuck it, let's go for it.
They take a helicopter up there, and they almost die getting off the fucking helicopter.
They get
which
the
should have been
Hoppy
the first
Choppy
clue.
gets up there. Everybody almost dies. Not a good start.
So it took so long to get off this fucking helicopter.
My God.
This is a 2-hour movie, and there are some parts that you're like, what the fuck? Just get off the helicopter.
Yeah.
This isn't even that interesting.
It's not. And there's a lot that's not that interesting at this point.
So these people start dropping off one by one. First, we lose Cyril. He's one of the Moron brothers.
Yep. The nitroglycerin leaked.
The nitroglycerin leaked. They found out that it was volatile to the sun.
Yeah.
And exploded. We find out because in the Pakistani military base, they never cleaned that fucking mess up that the guy stood in and they blew his shoe up with.
And the sun hit it from the right angle. And
it exploded.
Kabooms.
The guy just left it sitting there. Like, what the fuck?
Who doesn't clean up volatile chemicals?
The Pakistanians, apparently.
Yeah. If you're Pakistani,
give us a call.
Fucking mountain,
Cyril
that's what
eats it after an
happens.
avalanche blows him off the side of the mountain, right? Like, he gets blown off. The girl lives, but barely. She's hanging on by a fucking ice pick. It's fucking really boring. There's a bunch of, I saved you, you saved me, somebody dies eventually.
Right.
So anyways, all this commotion and explosions is causing hell for Annie and her friends.
Yeah. It's all
Team Dollar Sign.
knocking shit loose down in the pit of despair.
And this is when we find out Elliot's kind of a shithead, right? Because he doesn't want to give Tom any more of that Dex medicine to fix his lungs.
Yep.
He's like, I don't want to do it. He's going to die anyways. Because Tom got hurt when he fell in that pit.
Yeah.
And he's doing pretty poorly. Tom's going to die.
Tom is going to die. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Elliot speeds it up by shooting some fucking air into his
air right into his body.
This is what I wrote. What is this, 1996? I'm going to eject you with a fucking syringe of air and murder you? It doesn't work.
To be fair, that was also a key plot point in one of the later episodes or one of the later seasons of Orange is the New Black.
It doesn't work. Peter, Monique, and Wick are the only 3 from the Rescue Rangers who survive.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we got to keep fucking going forward. And then back in fucking Team Dollar Sign's land, Tom is dead because Elliot killed him with some
murdering him to death.
First, he's like, don't give him any Dex. We can't save him. He's going to die anyways. And Annie's not having it.
No, she's like, no, you definitely give him Dex because what if?
Yeah.
But she's also suffering the effects of whatever that fucking disease is.
Pulmonary
edema.
Pulmonary depedema.
Depa, you're not going to make it. You're going to die up there in the mountain. Good luck. 24,000 feet in the air. You can't breathe, asshole.
You need your neck. You need your Dex.
Elliot's actually doing pretty well at 24,000 feet.
He's done it before. He's comfortable with it.
Yeah.
He's killed people up there in the past.
Yeah, he's killed people up in the past. And we also find that out. Oh my God. So Wick runs across his wife.
Yeah, he somehow manages to cross his dead wife's body.
The wifesicle?
And sees that her Dex box has been looted. but
Yeah.
he was told that she ran out or lost it or some shit by
Right.
Elliot.
How fucking convenient.
How convenient.
That part annoyed me. Oh, wifesicle.
The old wifesicle gag.
She
Classic.
looked great though, right?
Yeah, no.
She was aged a day.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Just what happens
Frozen.
when you freeze to death, I guess.
Yeah. Great.
So,
Great.
scale
Fucking
of 1 to
great.
10, what are the odds that he had sex with his frozen wife's corpse?
8.
8. Okay,
Yeah.
Liz?
7.5.
7.5. Okay. I was going with
2.
10.
7.52.
7.52. I'm going with 10.
I say he might take a nap instead or something.
There's a 100% chance he banged his wife's corpse.
Now you're gonna kill him.
My wife died of edema. It stripped the skin from her throat and filled her lungs with water. She drowned in her own bodily fluids. Yeah, I'm gonna kill him.
I can't let you do it.
Peter, do you know where you are? Above 24,000, you're at the vertical limit. You're already dying. Look at you. You can hardly stand. You think you can stop me? Go ahead.
Other than
Anyway,
die.
we finally get the rescue, right?
Yeah.
And this dumb shit fuck gets... They're all on the ropes. They're climbing away. Wick. What does Wick do? What decision does Wick make when so he and Elliot are
Well,
last
there-
on the rope, right?
Yeah, there are a couple things that happen right here, right? First, they drain Tom of all his blood to make a big blood
that's
splatter.
right. The blood, we'll call it blood flare, I
The
guess?
blood flare, yeah. They drain Tom of some blood, put it in a so now we're back with Team Dollar Sign.
Team Bucks monies.
Annie and Elliot, only one alive. They look at Tom's body and go, he looks delicious. And they drain him of all his life-saving blood juice.
Yeah, the red goo.
Yeah, and they put it in a bag with the road flare and built this thing that when they pop it up to the top of the pit, they set the road flare off and it explodes the bag of blood, which creates a delicious snow cone of
Blood.
blood.
But it's red and
It-
obvious to people around.
So people can
there's
see where they're
blood.
at. Yeah. That was pretty gruesome.
That's gross, but
Yeah.
effective.
So now we're there. Now Montgomery Wick has a choice because they're all saving everybody. Everybody's jumping in a pit. There's a lot of saving and broken ice and all the shit you'd expect in this kind of a scene. Montgomery Wick is face to face with his wife's killer. What does he do, Greg?
Well, I mean, he does the only thing any reasonable person would do. They get back to base camp and he brings him to justice with the evidence that he's procured. No, wait, he cuts the rope and kills them both.
Right. At first, he decides to save them, but then when they're like hanging there, they hang there for like must have been 5 seconds. He's like, no, you know what?
I'm reconsidering this life-saving
I'm
thing.
Gandalf the Grouch, and I'm gonna go through.
You know
this,
why he
down this
saved
pit.
him? Because he wanted to make sure that he was the one that got to kill Elliot.
Yeah, it was pretty great. Like they had a little bit of struggle. He's like, you know what? Just cut the rope. doesn't even give it 2 seconds choice.
Yeah, what's he gonna do?
Yeah. He's like, you know, I got this solved. I'm old anyways.
I'm old. He's a shitbag.
So now
let's just end this.
The only people alive are Peter,
And
Annie, and the girl whose name I
Monique.
forget. Monique. So this movie gives us a gift, Greg. It doesn't make us show them dragging Annie up to the pit and out down the mountain.
yeah, thank
they just
God.
fast forward to the base. And that was the biggest gift, the best decision this movie made in editing.
All the bullshit
Yeah.
that they
The
wasted our
biggest
time
gift
with.
that this movie
they
gave
didn't
us.
waste our time with that
I
bullshit.
thought they were going to. I was like, oh, God damn it. I got to watch them like fight an avalanche and some wolves or something on the way down. Maybe another explosion. We haven't
Yeah.
had one.
Liam Neeson Wolfpack.
Yeah.
They'll
Liam
get
Neeson
out
Wolfpack.
and they'll find out that the mountain is alive and trying to drain
Has
people's
feelings.
bloods.
I just tired of people climbing me up a mountain. Yeah.
Just because you can, that's why you're stabbing me with those metal things.
Ooh, respect nature at the end. But no, they're back at base camp. Some shit happens. Listen, Peter makes out with that Monique lady
Yeah.
because they have a connection that I didn't really see, but they had one. But then after
Well,
Monique,
they've known each other for minutes now.
yeah, he makes out with her right in front of his like passed out sister. I think he's
What's
just trying
she
to make.
gonna do? Complain about it?
I think he's trying to make Annie jealous. He's like, check this out.
Yeah. Oh, this is
'Cause
what you get for not making
Seriously,
out with me.
there's so much chemistry between these two. They're smiling and laughing. They look like they just want to fuck.
Just
this whole
because we
movie.
don't enjoy our siblings doesn't mean other people don't.
Like that much?
Hey, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
some family bonds are different than others.
That much? Listen,
I don't know, Richard.
Annie is very proud of Peter, and she tells him, "Dad would be proud of you. You got 4 people killed." Dad only killed like 2 or 3 before he went down.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you doubled Dad's numbers.
Yeah,
so
good job.
he'd be proud.
Like, fuck. I would be, if I was Annie, I would honestly be upset. How many people lives were spent for you to rescue me? Like, thanks, but what about all those other people? They don't count? They didn't climb fast.
2 of them died, not his fault at all.
Right.
Because Wick was going to kill Vaughn one way or the other.
Yeah.
I feel like whether it was a murder with a straight razor at base camp or it was cutting the rope up there, Vaughn was getting murdered by Wick.
Vaughn's days were numbers.
So we'll take those 2 out of the equation. Really, only 3 people died.
Oh, well, good.
So there you go.
Good, that's it. That's it. The movie's kind of over, right?
Yeah,
you have anything to say about these scenes?
I do not give a shit about
I stopped giving a shit an hour and a half ago.
I promise you, my review of this movie will explain more of this movie than the movie explained to this movie.
Yeah. This was 2 hours, and I didn't know how.
It had no reason to be 2 hours.
I had no idea how 2 hours happened.
We will complain about our final thoughts right after this break. Not the next one, but this one.
At the top of the world, the one rule.
We've lost the summit team.
I won't let my sister die. Don't leave anything.
I'm coming to get you.
On the mountain. It's suicide. Larry. Vertical Limit. Rated PG-13. Opens Friday.
All right, look, we're back. We're back, whether you like it or not. Don't make me turn this car around, Liz. Just because you're, which Liz is it?
Angry Liz.
Angry Liz. Just because you're Angry Liz today doesn't mean you have the right to boss us around.
Grouchy Liz.
Grouchy Liz, Crab Liz, Ham Liz.
Grouchy Gandalf.
That was by Shakespeare, right? Ham Liz?
Ham Liz. Yeah. It's also a delicious sandwich. The Ham Liz.
The Ham Liz.
On rye.
Not a delicious sandwich.
I prefer the Ham Liz and turkey.
Yeah, the Ham Liz and turkey, yeah.
Oh,
like a gorilla.
I'm so glad that we're at final thoughts right now.
Oh my God, I have thoughts. You want me to go? You want me to go talk about this?
I don't want anybody to talk about this movie anymore.
I don't
but
have
if
that many
to,
thoughts.
If I have to pick somebody,
honest.
we'll start with Richard because that is how we do things around here.
Take it away, Dick Bob.
Woo!
This movie is
a movie.
Yeah. What do I like about this movie?
It wasn't 3 hours long. To start.
Most of the stuff, like most of the cynical, like what I like about these movies have already been taken about by you in previous podcasts. Like, it's over. I like this movie's over.
The end credits are terrific.
Yeah.
I like that they follow the norms of listing names one at a
great.
time.
All right. What I like about this movie? Bill Paxton.
Billy P.
I like Bill Paxton in this movie. I was into him. Every time he was on the screen, I got a little more excited. That's about it, honestly. Some of the climbing was okay. As somebody who has climbed, some of it was shot really well, but it actually lacked a lot of climbing for a climbing movie. There wasn't a whole lot of climbing going on. This movie was long. It was boring. It was pointless. It was inane, and the performances were unbelievable. I give it, I don't know, a 4.6 on the Richter scale.
4.6. It was well thought out too.
Yeah.
That fuck I don't know is just his way of cluing you into the fact that he wrote this review hours and hours ago.
Dude, I have a whiteboard at home, my vision board. I had to erase it.
There's so much yarn and thumbtacks.
Yeah.
And
to get to
heat
this number.
maps. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's scientific.
It is very scientific.
What about you, Liz? You picked this fucking thing.
Liz, why did you torture us with this?
Born and raised on that. No, I wasn't.
It explains a lot.
I want to end
it. I want to end it too right now, Richard, but it's Liz's turn to talk.
The
so
movie
Liz,
was dumb. My parents used to love it. We watched it over and over and over again, and I don't know why. It's a 3.
3? Wow.
You gave us you recommended a movie that's a 3?
All right. So a 3.
I'm alive and I got to watch Vertical Limit, you guys.
Yay!
10 out of 10, motherfuckers.
Wow, that is the highest review we've ever given anybody.
You give Sharknado a 10 out of 10. It's in the bloopers, though.
All right. Since Liz went and Richard went, I now have to discuss this
Greg,
movie.
what do you think about this movie?
I really liked some of the shots the wider shots, like all this close-up bullshit was lame as shit.
Oh my God.
The special effects were really well done. Special effects in this movie were solid, very solid. I would not be surprised if this movie won awards. I did not look if it won any awards, but I would not be surprised if it won awards for visual effects. I'm going to look. I'm looking it up. I bet it's won a visual effect award.
The explosion was really good.
At least nominated.
The explosion that took out two of the guys was actually done really well. It was stupid, but it was done really well.
What are we doing? What's this movie? Vertical Limit. Phoenix Film Critics Society Award. Best visual effects at one. Still, that's something.
It makes sense in Phoenix, though. A bunch of climbers in Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, BAFTA Awards, it was a nominee for special visual effects. So it's not.
You were right, Greg. Hey, Greg, you get a fucking, like, WAD Podcast Gold Star.
I'm going to give myself, I'm going to buy a trophy, a WAD Podcast trophy, and I'm going to put it on my mantle.
Because you literally just said, this probably won awards for special effects from somebody, and it did.
It did.
I didn't even know
it was nominated, which is good enough.
Good. More than we've win one. Nomination.
Hell of a lot
that's
more
a nod
awards than I've ever won for movies I've made.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not my point.
Is it not?
It had good special effects. It was not so terrible in every aspect. The movie itself was not good. It felt contrived. The action sequences were just generic and constant, and they wore me down.
Uninspiring.
Exactly. I did not love this movie. I'm giving this a 5.2 on the Gregter scale.
All right.
5.2.
Generous.
Not terrible, not great. Very 90s. That's it.
You don't have to watch this.
You don't have to watch this.
Well,
I appreciate that everybody listened to yet another episode of the What a Disaster podcast. If we survive the week and we don't get murdered by cars or
put your damn phones down,
have our
avalanches.
What was it?
Avalanches.
Cardiac edema.
Yeah. Pulmonary
edema.
Yeah.
Underwater or in the sky.
We don't get the bends.
Or a mild cardiac situation of any kind.
We don't get eaten by a shark. If these things don't happen, we'll be back next week.
No buildings fall on us.
Oh, God, if a building falls on me.
You guys, we are fully aware of all the dangers present in our everyday world after starting this podcast.
Oh, my God. They're everywhere. But Greg's a dad, so you know my ass will be in the truck next to him as fodder as we make it back to his kids so he can save their lives.
I've been working out a lot, and so I've got the hero dad thing going. You're definitely just...
I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Hopefully I make it halfway through the trip.
I hope you make it to a moment where you sacrifice yourself heroically to save me so that I can save my children.
That's my goal. That's my plan for my life.
Perfect.
It's been my ambition.
That's all I wanted to know. So you can hit our website. Feel free to check out our show notes for information.
Give it a good slap.
Give it a good slap.
Give it a good smack.
Kick the tires, you know? Yeah. You can fit so many fucking beer reviews in this bad boy.
Tell it to Bad Girl.
Okay.
Wait, I mean...
Let's just open up that meme for a second.
Please follow us on Twitter.
Please. Nobody follows us on Twitter.
Podwad, all right? PODWAD.
Don't make us beg. It's so
it's too late. I'm begging.
I'm just gonna start adding people.
We're WAD Podcast on Instagram.
Oh, we are.
WAD Podcast at Gmail if you want to email us. Who does that though? Nobody fucking emails.
Not yet.
I email when I'm grumpy about customer service.
Or work.
Who gives a shit? Just contact us, however you see it fittest.
Especially if you like leaving text messages or voicemails.
Yeah.
Of course, we're on Facebook, but yeah, we prefer you call us.
Yeah, we do.
Or text us. That's good. And the phone number, as usual, is 209-781-9113. You like how I made Richard half-ass sing it while I just said it?
Why did you do that?
209-781-9113.
Harmonies.
That's a very, very good harmony, Liz. So I hope you guys can see yourselves out. I'm going to bed on this couch, and I hope you have a great night.
WhatADisasterPod.com.
WhatADisasterPod.com.
I put it on the fucking notes for once.
Is it?
Yeah, I put it out there. The very bottom last two.
Oh, it's an underlined link, which means I'm not going to read it.
You can click it. with your
I'm gonna
finger.
click it on my paper. It's gonna take me
Shut
to a
up.
website.
I hate you and I hate this. And I hate this movie. And I want to go home and pet my rabbit.
So for the What a Disaster podcast, this is Greg.
For the What a
That's
Disaster podcast, this is Rick.
and that's
Lizbert.
and we bid you adieu.
Adieu.
Goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen. Good night. Goodbye.
They put a bag of Tom's blood and flares at the top of the ditch, which explodes blood everywhere and marks their spot. No cones, everyone. Quote, 2000.
Dan the man.
Liz,
I'm playing an instrument.
are we playing an instrument today?
Yes.
So, thank you, Liz, for that
Thanks
performance.
For the
You're very
segue.
welcome.
That song is called Fuck You, You're Not Talking. It's brought to you by Liz. It's in C.
It's brought to you by ADD.
Brought to you by Founders Sumatra Mountain Brown Ale. I'm assuming it's an ale. Is it? It's not.
Read my break. See if you like
Oh,
it.
I'm gonna read Rick's break.
I like your
Let's
break
see.
too. Well, yeah, use them both.
It's on. Is it on this page? Which page is it? Where is it? Oh, it's on the other side of this page.
On the
This
other
is. We're going to break, guys. Relax. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and while we're gone, I'm gonna try to resist the urge to cut myself free and plummet off the top of this podcast. I mean, they weren't even on the top though.
No, they weren't.
Side.
But I do like it.
Okay.
I do. We could have tweaked this one if I had read the notes before.
You
10
didn't
minutes
have any
ago.
time. That was the problem.
Yeah.
This was a family favorite in the Bedore household circa the
Her
year
dad
2000.
again.
So you've seen this and you still made us watch it?
Yeah.
This is what I did
You're
to
a
you.
bitch.
Yeah, she's,
I am
she's
a
a
bitch.
I
fucker.
try to avoid using that word, but you're a bitch.